Hey everyone, this is Jim Burdumy with Elite Core Fitness, and today I wanted to share a snack with you that I like to have on hand, and it's got a good mixture of proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, and it's really great to have with you if you're on the go. So let's take a look at what's in it and how to make it. Okay, so here's the lineup. Let's take a look at each of them and how much we're going to use. So first one is brown rice protein powder. It's optional, but I like to have it in there. It just adds a little bit more protein. This is the chocolate flavor. I use about 8 tablespoons of the protein powder, so that's about a half a cup. Then we have organic, unrefined, cold pressed coconut oil. So I use 6 tablespoons of that. So definitely make sure that it's a good quality coconut oil, and again, unrefined and cold pressed. Coconut flakes or shredded coconut. It's pretty easy to find. Again, you want to have a good quality coconut, so I always buy organic. The only thing that in this lineup that isn't organic is the brown rice protein powder. But for this, we're going to use 2 cups of the coconut flakes. You can use the bigger chunks of it. It's really up to you. I find that the more shredded ones are easier to work with. So the cocoa powder, I use about a half a cup of that. This is raw organic cocoa powder. The maca powder, I use only about 1 tablespoon of that, and that's also raw and organic as well. And then the raw organic cocoa nibs, which are basically, like little chunks of the cocoa. I use a 1/4 cup of that. And then maple syrup. You can always use honey if you'd like, or agave nectar. I just happen to have some organic maple syrup, and you use around maybe 2 to 4 tablespoons of that. Okay, so we're back, and what I did was I put all the dry ingredients into the bowl first, and then the maple syrup and the coconut oil. Again, I used 3 tablespoons of the maple syrup and 6 tablespoons of the coconut oil. So I got everything into the bowl first, and then used a spatula to kind of scrape around the edges, and then I got in there with my hands and just kind of brought it all together. So it stays together really easy once you can kind of just form a ball in your hand. It stays together pretty nice, and that's because of the coconut oil and the maple syrup. So what you do is I usually just put them into balls a little bit smaller than maybe like a golf ball or a ping pong ball, something like that. So then you just put them in a Pyrex dish. Get a little extra out of there. So you just put them in a Pyrex dish or a glass dish, baking dish, anything like that. Anything that you could put a lid over, or you can cover it with some wax paper, whatever you choose to do really. And I typically get around 25 of them depending on how big I make them. You could also line the pan with it and then cut it into bars, because what you're going to do after you make them all and put them into the dish, they're going to go into the freezer. You're going to let them harden a little bit, and then you're going to take them out and just store them in the refrigerator. So you could line it up all along the bottom here and then cut it into bars if you wanted to, but I just find that these travel easier and just easier. So after you continue making them all, then again, just throw them into the freezer. I'd say probably about an hour or so, maybe an hour and a half, just to let them really harden up, and then pop them in the refrigerator and you're good to go. Enjoy.